Well, today we will look once again from another Black immigrant talking crazy to foundational Black American community. Of course, the Black community responded. Check it out.
Deportation efforts and all of that, they're facing the highest eviction rates that they've ever faced. The only way that they can have a fair chance is to hope that we get deported, because we came to this country, we did what needed to be done, and we made the best out of the efforts and the benefits that they ignored. They were born here and they weren't ahead of us. We came here and we passed them, and instead of them taking accountability, Black and white, they always want to log in and shit on us. Baby, it's so damn hot outside. They're facing evictions left and right. This country is throwing its poor Blacks and whites out on their ass.
Well, you know what? Since you started it, sis, I'm just going to go ahead and finish it. Your entire country is a failure. Your entire country is a failed state, which is the reason why you had to leave in the first place, right? So if we want to talk about success here, there, or anywhere, you already come from a lineage of failure, right? A lineage of people who cannot figure out basic infrastructure and who literally blames everybody else for their failures except themselves. Constantly blaming colonialism and white people for all of your problems, blaming stealing resources, when even if they were to pull out from your nations, I don't even know how any of that works. But even if they were to just completely stop doing it, would you even know how to industrialize your resources? Would you even know how to make manufacturing plants and how to distribute products around the world? Like, would that even help the average everyday citizen from your country? Because I'm not really seeing too much progression. I'm really just seeing a lot of pointing the fingers and then coming over here and then trying to compare your top 10% to our bottom 10%. Like, that's literally what y'all do. Like, comparing your top 10% to somebody else's bottom 10% is not the flex that you think it is, sis. Like, and that's what y'all tend to do, because you don't want to, you fail to mention the fact that there's a whole vetting process. At least as far as I'm concerned, there's a process that they don't just let anybody over here, especially not from African nations. I know they don't just let anybody over here. So like the Yahoo boys and the thugs and the scammers and all of that, they keeping them over there where y'all at. So they're not letting any and everybody over here, because you're not comparing apples to apples. You're not coming over here comparing doctors to doctors, lawyers to lawyers, nurses to nurses, because we got all of that too. We got business owners too. But you want to come over here, throw shade, compare yourself to the lowest level of society, trailer park white people, ghetto projects Black people, knowing damn well that is not the reality for the vast majority of Americans. I know a guy that lives about 20 minutes from me, been knowing him for a long time. He's low-key, keeps to himself. He makes multiple six figures every single month, multimillionaire, Black American dude. But you don't want to compare yourself to people like that. You want to compare yourself to the people who need to use government assistance, which is a very small portion of society. Like, you really think that you're better than somebody because you came over here and did basic ass shit that everybody has to do in order to survive anyway. You know, you came over here with a grant or a loan or something. You went to school, you got your piece of paper, you got a job, you got a house, you got a car. Now all of a sudden you think that you're better than the average everyday American citizen who's pretty much done the same thing. Or you started a business when there's a lot of Black Americans and other white Americans who have businesses too. Well, a lot of them. I know a lot of them personally. I don't know anybody right now that is in the eviction process, but y'all want to throw shade at the entire race of Black people in America and try to lift yourself up by stepping on us. And you don't even really have nothing to stand on with that. You couldn't succeed until you left. You had to come over here in order to make a life for yourself. You had to leave your failed state to come here, right? Because the hard work was already done. So all you had to do was show up. All that hard infrastructural work, no matter how horrible things had to transpire in order to get to this point, the hard work was already done. So if you could throw shade once you do the hard work to fix your shit over there, because that the real hard work is in the infrastructure. That's where the real hard work is. It's easy to come over and succeed when all of the hard shit already been done and all you got to do is build on top of it. It's hard to build a foundation. It's easy to go to Target and buy decorations and decorate the house. I'm just saying.
What's up? Yesterday, I got my feelings hurt so bad. So I asked a question on one of my posts, why are Black Americans boycotting African braiders, right? And so a lot of people got in my inbox and they just shared videos with me. And so I'm going through these videos. I think I might have got 13, but I saw enough. Like, we got nurses out here really talking about they're going to reach out to their African doctors and tell those African doctors to give us Black Americans substandard health care. Let us die. Us. We useless. We ain't nothing but lazy motherfuckers anyway. Like, god damn, that's really how y'all feel about us? Exactly. What do we do to you Africans? I'm talking to the whole continent. That got y'all thinking it's okay to drag us all over social media. Because I got time today. The first video we're going to talk about is a 59-year-old nurse. She said she's been waiting for years to say this about Black Americans. She talked about how trifling we were, how we don't deserve shit because all the stuff that America has given to us, we don't take advantage of. We're ignorant. All we do is twerk, shake our ass, look stupid, and sit on welfare. Like, where would she get that idea from? The old ugly bitch says she hate us. She don't want none of us as friends because we're not worth her friendship. She got plenty of Africans that are here in America that are her family. We are not her family, and we are not the fucking same. The second video I watched was another nurse. She was between the ages of 36 and probably 42. Oh, she laughed and said, we are deaf, dumb, and blind. We don't know anything about our heritage, our background. She chuckled and said, we got to go pay ancestral DNA so that we can learn where we're from, and they're probably lying to us anyway. She said she knows stories from her grandfather's grandfather. She know where she's from. She know where she's going. Basically, Black Americans. Right now, what we doing? Comparing apples to oranges? See, again, I got time today. I got time to drag y'all. And I want you to come for me because I'm going to come back even harder, Africans. Let me explain something to you. We were stolen from our homeland. And yeah, most of us don't know what that homeland is. But you were the first ones to sell us into slavery, and you've been cursed ever since. First of all, how y'all gonna live on a glass continent and throw stones? Y'all talk about how ignorant and stupid we are, how we have all these resources available to us, but y'all have the richest land on the planet. Y'all got gold, copper, diamonds, platinum, and shit. Y'all got that thing that the electric cars Elon Musk use, but can you touch any of it? Try picking up a diamond you find in your backyard if you want to and see what France gonna do to you. Let's talk about all the countries that colonized the great continent of Africa. France, England, Spain, Germany, Portugal, Italy, and the United Kingdoms. So the difference between Black Americans and Africans is when it comes to a Black American, we were sold into slavery by Africans and forced to build a country from the ground up for free. When it comes to you, y'all was sitting pretty on y'all continent and had other countries come in and tell y'all to get the fuck out of the way. We taking over. Instead of fighting for your continent like Black Americans fought for their freedom, you ran away. As soon as that visa application was approved, you got the fuck out of Africa. Tell me I'm lying, bitch. Then you got a nerve to call us dumb. Dumb? You remember back when the HIV epidemic took over the whole continent of Africa? Remember that? Remember when that happened and you went to the neighborhood voodoo doctor and that voodoo doctor told you to go have sex with a virgin and that would cure you? And how y'all was snatching people's little teeny weeny, you know what I'm talking about, and doing what you do to them and giving them the big I and the V, thinking that was going to cure you. That's the stupidest shit I ever heard in my life. This is a friendly PSA going out to all Africans that think they're going to jump on TikTok and try to drag my people, my beautiful Black American people all over this app and not face retribution. This is your retribution. And don't think for a minute I'm out of ammunition. Oh, I can go on for months. Keep fucking with my people if you want to, because we are not the same.
And for the Africans that say, why do foundational Black Americans have the smoke for Africans, but not for the white supremacists that's held us down for 400 years, or the Chinese people that take advantage of us with our nails and our hair products and stuff like that, or the Arabs that take advantage of us at the corner stores and the liquor stores. It hits harder because you claim to be black. Yeah, it hits harder because, see, the way the foundational Black Americans is set up, we have a black code over here that you don't know nothing about. We have a whole black code over here, and you don't follow the black code rules. I mean, I'm just being real. You don't follow the black code rules. So you come over here and you want to act like the oppressor and take advantage of us instead of helping us in our fight. We've been fighting for years. Then you come over here and don't aid in our fight. What you do is join the plight with the white man and the Arab and the Chinese. You fall in line with them, bro. That's why we're mad. Because we wasn't even mad at y'all. You know, we felt sorry for y'all. They showed us flies flying in y'all eyes and stuff. We was like, damn, that's our brothers and sisters over there like that. Damn. We felt sorry for y'all when y'all got over here. And y'all treat us like shit. That's why y'all first. Y'all canceled first. And then the Arabs. And then the Chinese. The white folk, we've been trying to cancel them, but them the motherfuckers that write the law. So we got to have a whole other discussion on that. We're going to really have to just buckle down and say, fuck the system on that part. But yeah, the ones that we can handle with light work, we can handle with light work, because y'all playing with a ninja. Man, we done suffered too many wars and went through too much for our dignity and our pride and for our mouth so we can speak up. Yeah, you ain't gonna come over here and drift. Help, bitch. You black? You wanna be black? Help, bitch. What y'all talking about? Sick of y'all.
Now, I kind of see why they do not want us to drop the African from our American name. Do you know that African Cameroons are basically losing their temporary protections, and they need to be up out of here by sometime early August. So who is the real wild cat? Y'all know that's what Akata means, the slur that they call us, some lost little cat who don't have a home. Who is the real Akata? And also, meanwhile, while Nigerian Africans are being kicked out and banned from every country, America is telling them no longer are you going to get 5-year visa to stay here and just parlay and chill. You only get 3 months and you need to go back home, or we're going to come find you and deport you. Deport you. Isn't that something that they would do to a wild animal? Like, as far as catching them? If I was an Akata walking around, wouldn't they come capture me and take me somewhere? Who is the real Akata? How y'all go from a 5-year protection all the way down to a 3-year protection? Until you do right and put some respect on the American black people name. But yeah, while y'all was running around here secretly whispering and calling us the Akatas, okay, it looks like y'all about to be running around like some wild lost animals trying to find your way back home, okay? And y'all said it behind our back. Even when we was little bitty kids, we was bold enough to call y'all some African booty scratchers to y'all face, okay? So,
For years, many African, Caribbean, and Afro-Latino immigrants came to America with a certain arrogance. Some taught by their parents, others pushed by media and U.S. government propaganda. They looked down on freedmen Black Americans, believing we were lazy, criminal, and beneath them. They bought into the lie that we were the problem in America. Some even thought we would be the ones deported, pushed to the margins, and wiped out. But now, the reality is hitting hard. Immigrants are starting to feel the pressure that should have been meant for them. The political winds have shifted. Mass deportation plans are no longer targeting just illegal border crossers. They're expanding to include visa overstays, asylum seekers, and yes, even some green card holders. ICE isn't just watching the border anymore. They're watching cities, jobs, courtrooms. And those same people who once laughed at Black Americans or distanced themselves from us are realizing they were never safe. Now, some of them are mad. Mad at the government? Not really. Mad at white supremacy? Rarely. They're mad at us, foundational Black Americans, the very people they mocked, dismissed, and disrespected. Why? Because we're standing on truth. We didn't fold. We didn't run. We're claiming our lineage, our rights, our reparations. We're organizing, building, and finally checking the disrespect that went unchecked for decades. And as we stand on business, they realize they can't replace us. They can't silence us. They can't erase us. Now the tables have turned. What we're witnessing is a major shift in awareness. Freedmen Black Americans aren't playing nice anymore. We're being firm. We've been too open, too welcoming, too forgiving. But now it's time to handle our business, protect our lineage, and stop allowing people to climb over us while spitting on our name. The wake-up call is here, and more are coming. It's interesting to constantly witness how clueless many Africans, Caribbeans, and Afro-Latinos are about the deep, complex history of freedmen Black Americans. When many of these immigrants arrive in the United States, they often carry a completely distorted view of Black Americans, shaped by colonial influence, media stereotypes, and even teachings from their own families. Since the 1980s, this ignorance has too often translated into open disrespect. Many African and Caribbean parents have told their children not to associate with Black Americans, labeling us as lazy, criminal, or unmotivated. Meanwhile, they conveniently enjoy the rights, culture, and foundation that FBAs fought and bled for during centuries of struggle in this country. During the 1980s and 1990s, many of the older FBA generations extended hospitality, solidarity, and grace to these newcomers, welcoming them as brothers and sisters from the diaspora. But instead of returning that energy, too many immigrants looked down on the very people who paved the way for their opportunities. Back then, our elders didn't always check that behavior the way they should have, either out of politeness or a hope for unity. But times have changed. The younger generation of FBAs is no longer staying silent. They're educated, unapologetic, and rooted in their identity. They're correcting the lies and checking the disrespect. And now that the pushback is happening, some immigrants are in shock. They're not used to Black Americans standing their ground, so they start throwing out false equivalences, comparing FBAs who speak up to white supremacists. That's gaslighting at its finest. It's a manipulative tactic used to avoid accountability and ignore the fact that some of the worst anti-Blackness comes from within the diaspora itself. The foundational Black American, FBA movement is a growing cultural and political movement rooted in the lineage of Black people in the United States who are descendants of those enslaved during chattel slavery. These are the men, women, and children who built America from the ground up, literally. FBA is not about division, but about specificity. It's about honoring a unique and often overlooked lineage within the Black diaspora, the people whose blood, sweat, and tears laid the very foundation of this country. From slavery to Reconstruction to Jim Crow to the Civil Rights Movement and beyond, foundational Black Americans have consistently been on the front lines of the fight for justice, not just for themselves, but for all Black people who later came to America seeking opportunity. The FBA movement was born out of necessity, as many freedmen Black Americans began to notice a troubling pattern. Despite decades of trying to embrace Pan-Africanism and unite with Black immigrants from Africa, the Caribbean, and Latin America, many foundational Black Americans found themselves being rejected by those very groups. Many Black immigrants were taught by their parents to stay away from Akatas, a derogatory term some use for African Americans, to not associate with native Black Americans, and even to deny their Blackness, preferring to identify solely by their nationality. They were often indoctrinated with anti-Black American stereotypes passed down from colonial governments or influenced by global white supremacy. This rejection was eye-opening and disappointing, especially since it came from people who shared skin color and African ancestry. But worse than rejection was the erasure. Many Black immigrants took full advantage of the gains that foundational Black Americans fought and died for, without acknowledging the people who made those gains possible. The Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, affirmative action, access to education, housing, and job protections. None of these would exist without the sacrifices of FBA icons like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., Fannie Lou Hamer, and Medgar Evers. And yet, many of these Black immigrants benefited from the blood spilled on Southern soil, while looking down on the very people who made it possible. Some even went so far as to assimilate into whiteness, copying Eurocentric behaviors and values to gain proximity to white acceptance, all while mocking or ignoring the cultural legacy of Black Americans. Meanwhile, foundational Black Americans didn't assimilate. We created our own culture, our own music, food, fashion, language, and resistance, from scratch, under conditions no human being should have endured. From jazz and blues to hip-hop, from soul food to street slang, American Black culture is FBA culture. Now, in the age of political instability and rising racism, especially under the shadow of leaders like Donald Trump, some of these same immigrant groups want to suddenly unify with FBAs. They want to form alliances now because they see that white supremacy doesn't distinguish between Black immigrant and Black American when it comes to oppression. But unity cannot be based on fear alone. Real unity comes from respect. And to become a protected class in America, there must be proper classification, a clear understanding of who is who and what historical lineage is being recognized. FBA is not anti-immigrant, it's pro-truth. It's about making sure the contributions of our ancestors are not stolen or ignored. We are the originators of the fight for Black rights in this country. We carved out space in America against all odds. That deserves respect. If Black immigrants want to truly unite, then step one is to acknowledge the trail that was blazed before they arrived, by people who had no choice but to be here, yet still found a way to shape the soul of a nation. Tell me what you think about this topic. Hope you find the information in this video informative. Feel free to like, subscribe, share, comment. Thanks for watching.